and the omnibus. So I was forced into the Archers when I was a child. And look, it's come back to bite me later on. I'm awash with this stuff.
The Archers is the world's longest-running radio show, with more than 15,000 episodes broadcast. Despite being a rural flavour show, The Archers is recorded in the heart of...
So that week between Christmas and New Year's, it's always such a strange, kind of amorphous period, isn't it?
It really is. It's a seasonal pivot point.
Yeah, the gifts are unwrapped, the big meal is over, and then suddenly, you know, the financial reality of it all just crashes into this resolution-fueled optimism for a fresh start.
And that's exactly what our sources today capture. We're looking at some raw dialogue, character notes from a radio program, and they nail that contrast perfectly. You have characters who are so determined to turn the page.
A new leaf.
Exactly. But at the same time, they're being dragged down by this deep-seated economic stress and, maybe more importantly, a really dangerous pattern of physical injury that they just refuse to acknowledge.
Okay, let's unpack this then. I think our mission for this deep dive has to be focused on those high stakes. We need to dissect the evidence that's mounting around one character, Ed, and this escalating danger he's in.
For sure. And we also need to look at the financial stress that's hitting everyone in this community right now.
And then contrast that, right? Contrast Ed's, commitment to counseling with how other people are handling things, measuring what's genuine hope versus what's just denial.
It's a study in these clashing realities. The sources give us people who are actively trying to build a clean story for the new year, whether that's through therapy or
dating apps.
Or dating apps, yeah.
Yeah.
All while the actual foundations of their security, financial and physical, are just crumbling. We're going to look right under the surface of all those new year, new me cliches and see what the real cost of turning that page might be.
Let's start with Ed then. He seems to be the one who is most actively trying to embrace that idea of renewal.
He is.
We find him doing tree surgery. He's chopping a branch with George during this quiet period. And physically, at least, he seems to be feeling some relief.
He is absolutely focused on those small, measurable signs of progress. It's noted that he's, newly relieved that his wrist brace is finally off. But he immediately admits the wrist is still a bit stiff. And that bruise on his face we heard about before, he confirms that's gone down. He's concentrating on these tangible physical recoveries, maybe as a way to feel some control.
But focusing on a stiff wrist and a faded bruise might just be another way to minimize the bigger issues, right?
Yeah.
Because under that relief, the financial reality is just, it's intense and it's threatening his self-worth, especially in his relationship with Amber.
Oh, that's where the sources reveal the real constraint. Ed and Amber, who are described as being very cozy after she gets back from Ireland, are planning a quiet New Year's Eve in.
And it's not because they want to.
No, it is cold, hard arithmetic. He explicitly says he doesn't have the money for the town pubs, the cab fare, 20 quid entrance fee. It's just too much.
And 20 quid just to get into a pub, that's such a sharp little detail that really shows you how tight things are. But here's where it gets emotional. Ed resents Amber having to sub him all the time.
Yeah, to cover the costs. That financial dynamic is so damaging to how he sees himself, especially when he's already feeling, emotionally vulnerable. Relying on your partner for just basic social spending, it can really undermine your role in the relationship.
And all the stability he's trying to build.
Right. He says her return was the best present, so he's emotionally invested. But that financial inequality is a ticking clock.
So with all that stress, what is he actually doing for his mental health beyond just hoping the calendar changes?
What's fascinating is that he is taking proactive, really specific steps. He confirms he's getting counseling.
An actual appointment.
An actual appointment. It's detailed. Tomorrow, 2:30 p.m. with Dr. Malik. This isn't just some vague hope. It's a scheduled commitment.
And he seems to get the stakes of his own emotional state, saying, I can't keep on feeling the way I do now. I'm hurting people I don't want to hurt.
And that realization that his internal pain is causing external damage, that's the real core of his commitment to change. He tries to kind of marry that seriousness with the simple appeal of the new year.
Right, the perfect time to turn the page.
Yeah, and make a fresh start. It's a hopeful story he's telling himself, but you have to ask, is that belief in a calendar change strong enough to override everything else that's driving his distress?
It sounds like Ed's financial problem is definitely not unique to him. What did the sources tell us about the wider community? How are they surviving this post-holiday dip?
Well, let's zoom out, because there is systemic strain everywhere. You look at the conversations between Emma, Chris, and Brad.
Okay.
Chris, for example, is working round the clock at Grey Gables. And he specifically notes the bonus of getting paid time and a half on Boxing Day.
So he's not taking a break.
No, this is not a choice. It shows he's relying on maximum effort on every single premium hour just to keep his head above water. That extra income isn't for saving, it's for solvency.
And that pressure spreads across the whole local economy. Emma confirms it right at the stables. She says they had to bite the bullet back in September and raise their fees.
Which led to a lot of customer complaints.
Of course.
And that's a crucial detail. It shows the owners are struggling with this, psychological burden of raising costs, knowing they're damaging customer relations just to stay viable. Chris even backs this up, saying complaints about costs are all he hears from his clients.
And the timeline they're looking at is, it's not short term. They're not hoping things get better next month. They both say, fingers crossed 2026 will be a better year.
That shared delayed hope says so much. They expect this crisis to last. Chris even connects the economic pressure directly to his community roots. He's hoping the cricket team still exists and that he can afford to move back into his flat.
So it's not just their wallets, it's their identity.
It's their community identity, exactly.
But in the middle of all that pressure, there's this really interesting dynamic playing out, a mix of holiday chaos and generosity. I love that anecdote about Jazzer and the Christmas turkey.
It's just the levity you need, right? You have this image of Jazzer who is just parading around like a botched animal experiment in the market. Now he's constantly pestering his mother about basting and temperature checks because he's terrified the turkey will dry out.
The guy who couldn't control his own public image is now desperately trying to micromanage the internal temperature of a bird.
It's pure holiday chaos.
Pure misplaced focus. Though we should probably confirm for you, the source material does assure us the turkey was, thankfully,
introducing the Archer's mug, where elegance meets everyday comfort. Crafted from premium white ceramic, designed with vibrant peekaboo colors inside, simple, modern, and stylish. Start your day the Archer's way, with warmth, familiarity, and the comfort of voices you've come to love. As the stories unfold on the Archers, let this mug become part of your daily ritual, a small reminder of life in Ambridge. Practical for every home, dishwasher and microwave safe. Available in 2 sizes, 11 ounces and 15 ounces, designed to fit your lifestyle. Enjoy your favorite drink in a mug that connects you to Britain's most beloved countryside story, The Archers. For more information and to order your very own The Archers mug, follow the link below and make it part of your daily routine.
banging in the end.
It was. And that community spirit, it's still there, even with low funds. They talk about the successful tractor run where Brookfield, dressed as shepherds, collected a lot of money.
So that's a dichotomy.
It is. People are stretched to their absolute limit, relying on every bonus shift, but they still have this strong capacity for generosity.
Okay, so moving from that shared community struggle to more personal romantic ones, we see Chris and Brad reacting to their own relationship turmoil in completely opposite ways.
Total opposites.
Yeah.
Chris is just embracing the enthusiastic rebound.
He's all in.
All in. He's operating on cliches and aggressive action. He says he's done with the bachelor life, but he is clearly not done with dating.
He's using all the classic lines. Life's too short to mope. Just got to jump back on that horse.
Right. He sees the new year as this clean starting pistol to immediately dive back in.
And he's doing it strategically, which, again, speaks to that economic mindset. He signed up for a dating app on Boxing Day.
Could get the 50% discount.
Exactly. A 50% discount on the premium subscription. Even his rebound is cost-effective. And he's already got a date lined up for next week with a woman named Naomi.
The profile details are so telling, too. He's curating this new identity right after breaking up with Carly. He describes his photo as very rugged, sleeveless shirt, foraging shoes.
The whole 9 yards.
The whole thing. He says he wants to just show me as I am, but he's clearly selecting this highly performative image of masculine self-sufficiency. It's an aggressive, optimistic strategy. He's trying to prove he's moved on.
But then when Chris encourages Brad to join him on the app, to share notes, Brad just shuts it down.
Immediately. He just offers these vague general excuses. It's just not for me. He says he's uncomfortable with the idea of meeting someone in a pub, even when Chris points out he can list himself as a non-drinker.
The specifics don't even matter.
No, they don't. The deep internal conflict is what's driving him to withdraw, to deny. It's such a sharp contrast to Chris's eagerness for exposure and rapid movement.
So it's the difference between trying to solve a crisis with aggressive external action, that's Chris, and trying to solve it with passive avoidance, that's Brad.
Absolutely. Chris is using the dating app to control his own story, to force a fresh start. Brad is choosing hesitation, which really suggests he's not emotionally ready to move on. And this all provides a really clean counterpoint to Ed, who is trying to solve his problems with structured, serious internal action, with counseling.
We need to shift our focus now, because while Ed is planning his therapy and Chris is planning his date, something genuinely dangerous is playing out. And this is where Brad's role shifts from reluctant dater to critical observer.
The danger really starts with Ed's current injury. During the tree surgery, Ed shows that same kind of hubris, almost. He tries to lift this whole heavy branch by himself, even though George explicitly warned him not to.
It's a moment of him trying to prove his strength.
And it backfires. There's a direct consequence.
And it's a brutal one. The sawn-off end of the branch tips up and clotted Ed in the face. It leaves a deep cut that George immediately thinks might need stitches.
But right away, Ed activates his defense mechanism. Denial and minimization. He insists it only needs antiseptic and a plaster. He's aggressively downplaying it. I'm fine, it's just a little knock.
And this is the key repetition. This is the behavioral pattern that Brad sees and connects to everything else.
Yes.
He goes to Emma and he asks this incredibly sober question. Are Ed's injuries all just accidents? He's been keeping a mental timeline. He's identified 3 incidents in about a month, and the link between them is chilling.
It is. Brad's timeline is so crucial here. Incident 1, the stairs. Ed lied at first, said he slipped on a book, but then later admitted George pushed him during an argument. Incident 2, the black eye. Again, blamed on a branch, but George was there. And now, Incident 3, this new deep cut again with George right there.
Brad's analysis is just, it's so critical. 3 injuries, short period of time, George is always there, and Ed always minimizes it and deflects the blame. It's very hard to dismiss that as coincidence.
Emma tries to defend George. She suggests Ed might be getting sloppy with his work, but she walks that back almost immediately.
She knows that's not true.
She affirms how seriously Ed takes safety, so negligence gets rolled out, which leaves only one other possibility.
And Brad voices it, that devastating central thesis. Ed wouldn't keep something this awful from them unless he's trying to protect him. And the high stakes are just laid bare. If George were found to be violent, he could go back to jail. And that risk is what Ed is trading his own physical safety for.
Ed's denial, his refusal to get medical help, his minimization, it is all driven by that one fear. The fear of George's incarceration. He's choosing to protect George's freedom over his own well-being.
And the material ends with Emma just vehemently resisting this idea, warning Brad to stop. But the tension is it's hanging in the air.
It is. Brad's final worry, that open question, the pattern continues. Then what? It just underscores how precarious Ed's whole situation is. He's trying to get a clean start tomorrow, but that fresh page is being written on top of a foundation of violent denial. If this cycle is accelerating, his counseling might be irrelevant until that protective mechanism is broken.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what does this all mean for you, the listener? What do we take away from this pivotal New Year period for these characters?
Well, we've uncovered this immense contrast between all the external optimism and these deep-seated systemic challenges. You have Ed pursuing recovery and a new beginning, marked by a genuine commitment to counseling.
But it's all complicated by the severe financial stress that threatens his relationship and a sense of self.
Right. And then you have the wider community, which is just focused on pure survival. You see it in the reliance on premium shifts, the painful need to raise business fees.
And yet, through it all, they still maintain this strong underlying capacity for generosity.
But most critically, Brad's thinking has just cut through that veneer of accidents. He's identified this deeply disturbing pattern. Ed's repeated injuries are being hidden, they're being excused, as a way to protect George from being incarcerated. And this high-stakes denial runs directly counter to Ed's own stated desire for a healthy, fresh start.
So we've seen Ed desperately seek a clean slate, clinging to the hope of a brand new year. But true change requires confrontation, not just denial. What happens when the clean slate you crave depends entirely on confronting the very person you are so desperately trying to protect? Is that leap of self-preservation even possible when the immediate cost feels so incredibly high? That's something for you to mull over as the calendar truly turns.
So what are you doing now?
Just getting ready for the next episode. Just moving mics around.
So what do you do?
I do the spot effects on the arches. Any
Are you what we call Foley then?
Kind of. Yep.
Okay. And these are all part of the paraphernalia of production.
Yep. That's the ball bar. That's
this one.
Yep. That's.
Haley so wanted to be in their own place when their baby came. It's due in 2 months. Not much chance of that now. No. I mean, it would have been a stretch for them financially, mind, but I just wish there was something practical I could do to help them, Caroline.
I think The Archers has had this immense popularity over the years, basically because it has always very accurately reflected the reality of life and living in a rural community at whatever